Grassroots Records, I think, or something like
You
that
know
was
what?
something that was floating in my head, and I was like, and it just didn't have it had the right like feel like
Uh-huh.
to the head and the heart, but like it didn't really feel like a label that would release like hard rock or heavy music, something more like jam bandy or something like that, and so it just didn't feel like it captured the essence, and that's why I was like, just sitting there, just thinking like, what would, and obviously, everybody always asks me if I got it from the Pantera, song.
Oh yeah.
And obviously that's a great song and definitely representative of what I think mentally and whatnot in regards to it. But yeah, it didn't really. It was just kind of like I was just trying to think of something, like you said, like just big and massive and God size. So
yeah, I think if you were going with Grassroots Records, which is also a great name, I feel like you would, like you said, it would have been more niche. Like to me, I would have assumed you played more kind of like a Louisiana kind of folk kind of sound with
Americana.
That. Yeah, Americana with the name like that. With Godsize, you can kind of go anywhere with it. If you want to do hip hop, you wanted to do the rock music, you kind of go anywhere. Now that brings me to a question of: do you sign mostly like hard rock bands?
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm into. I mean, that's my niche. That's what I am. I mean, I love literally all music. I'm a nerd. Like I have a couple of bands that we've released singles, that are kind of more country rock, really cool tunes though, good friends and great songs. And yeah, man, I've actually talked to a couple of people that are, hip hop, about, releasing a couple singles or something and seeing where it goes. I'm definitely not trying to, pigeonhole one way or another. You think of the great labels growing up, Elektra Records, they had the Eagles or, the Doors and Motley Crue and Metallica, or Stevie Nicks or somebody, so I mean, great music is great music, so if I can release great music to the world, I will, so, but yeah, mainly, if it had to, you had to pick one category, I guess it would be the hard, hard
And
rock, heavy metal.
That's pretty much what is that as of right now. That's all you have on your label is hard rock and metal bands as of today.
No, I have a few artists that are, more of the rock and roll, country rock leaning thing. Havala, which is like a side project for a couple of dudes in some bigger bands, and then an artist named Bradley Allen Coco, who is got a great new like country rock song.
Cool.
And I've known him for 20 plus years, and dude just busts his ass and works so hard to make an awesome song and just works hard as shit. And I was just like, your hustle needs to be, at least given a shot. So like, yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So I'm not opposed to anything. If it's a good tune, it's a good tune.
Not only, God, there's so many bands that have so many good tunes out though. Like, so have you ever heard a band and you're like, oh, this is a great song. You randomly heard just random, for some reason, plays on your shuffle list because you're playing songs by whoever. And then you may look them up, realize they have like, 5 monthly listeners on Spotify. They got like 4 Facebook, fans. The songs are great because there's so many just artists that can do something great, but they don't push it. It's not going to go anywhere. And I've seen it happen personally. Would you still pick a band up like that? Or do you want to see them have the numbers that they push themselves to be able to deserve to be a part of what you're doing?
No, absolutely. Like a good tune at least deserves a conversation, right? Like Maybe there's a reason. Maybe they're just idiots. Maybe
right.
Maybe they're just completely, disconnected from social medias or whatever. That's not a unhealthy thing, and it doesn't mean that this band couldn't be successful. Like that could be the diamond in the rough. That they just simply aren't inclined to do that type of thing, and just like, yeah, you do that. That's your job. You come on, you do that. We'll do this, and it's like perfect. That's a great arrangement.
That is such a good point that you just made, because not everybody is in the social media, does social media, and you're right. It is probably healthier to not have social media, not have a social media page mentally, anyways.
Yeah, but, I mean. It sucks for you professionally, but if that's the whole thing. So if the right team comes aboard and starts facilitating these elements for that particular artist, then boom, like that could be a great thing. And so yeah, it'd definitely be worth a conversation if they're just if they're just a band that's not into even like being a band for real, like that's just some shit we did and put out, then you're like, yeah, probably not. There's probably not a reason to pursue this,
Mm-hmm. But if they're an actual band and they just aren't, because I deleted my Facebook account. Be right for about a few months before I started the podcast. I deleted it, and the only reason why I started one back up was because I was going to have the podcast. And one way to be able to get your stuff out there from a marketing standpoint right now anyways is social media. Like you can share your YouTube videos, like we're going live right now on Facebook. I can share when it goes on Apple Podcast or goes on Spotify, iHeartRadio. I have a means to share it. Without that, it would be harder to share unless you just push, hey, buddy.
Hey.
I'm doing a podcast right now.
Yeah, right.
What do you bring you? Cup of coffee?
Smoothie.
Ooh, nice. Smoothie. What kind of smoothie? Berry flavor?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. But yeah, so I was going to say I started the podcast because of social media. And, you would think bands would also maybe want to take that plunge. But you're right. They might not be in their belief system to do it, or they just don't want social media. So it's at least worth a conversation.
Yeah, it's worth a conversation. That's what I say all the time. And if it don't work out, it don't work out. But shit, it could be a really cool thing that everybody else is sleeping on.
Yeah. When you whisper, "I'm doing a podcast right now," we could hear that. We can.
Well, yeah. I just didn't want to be. It seems more polite
to whisper. Yeah.
Yo, motherfucker, what the fuck you doing in here? Like,
hey, man. I know my kids haven't come in yet. I'm surprised that they've never come in while I'm doing one, but it's gonna happen eventually.
It never fails. Like there'll probably be another son trickle in at some point. Like,
yeah.
Be like, oh, I don't care, get fucked, and
Are they into music as much as you are?
No, my youngest son, he just turned 10 in June, and yeah, he seems to be fairly interested in various interesting, like he likes like Papa Roach and Disturbed.
Oh, nice.
And things like that. But it's a thing, man. It's like it doesn't seem like kids are as interested in bands and stuff anymore. So
they're not.
That's what I'm trying to crack the code, man. So it's like figure out how to make this cool and viable to the youth again, because it's like, yeah, it's completely, all this TikTok and YouTube, generated. Well, I mean, we're on YouTube now, but that's like all they're fascinated with is the video games. It seems like, and all this. I don't get into it. I guess I'm slow on the take with the gaming, but it's big. It's a big world. It's a lifestyle now, really.
It really is. I have a 12-year-old, and I have a 12-year-old and a 5-year-old about to be 6. And every time we're in the car, if I'm driving, and the wife's in the car, I turn up my heavy metal music. I'll I'll play some Falling in Reverse or something the kids should not listen to, but I was doing it anyways. And I always look at my youngest one. Isn't this your favorite song? No. No. She wants to hear, pop music, and my 12-year-old wants to hear hip hop music. That's all they hear on TikTok, man. Like, they don't really hear the good music. And you know what? I hate to say it, but it's almost like heavy metal is not as popular or at least as it once was, man.
Well,
and it should be. It should, because it's real freaking music. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's never been the most popular. So it's always kind of been the black sheep, really. I mean, rock and roll has no respect, across the board, really. So it's not, but it's like the cool underground element to it is like gone too. It seems like it's I don't know how to.
And that's crazy. And listen, I'm gonna tell everyone, like, the bands on Godsize Records are good. Like, I've heard of them. And some of the bands you do booking for, those are great. Like, you have a great ear for music and what you want on your record label, dude. Because you got some. How many bands do you have on the label?
Okay, so there's some bands, like Rikets, that are not really an active band. So I mean, we are releasing new music very soon, actually. Super sick new track. It's gonna blow people's minds. It's either gonna be like the greatest song ever, or like just like nobody gets it.
Right? There's no in between.
But they'll love the next one after that. So and then a band, Left for Dead, which I'm in. It was in we released a record that had like a huge long history. Finally put it out last year in 2020, and so like we're on the label technically. And then I got I got some other projects that are on there, but for like the bands we're pushing, we have like RedefinD and Manta of Morta and Heartsick, and a couple new bands that will be announcing soon. I'll go ahead and say it. Sin Shrift, they'll be announcing very soon. So if people are watching now, they know they're awesome. Hail the Horns, which is like a project with one of the artists that we have, Mark Rizzo and Tony Campos and Opus from Dead by Wednesday. And like I mentioned before, a couple of those other, country rock artists, Reign of Z and Darker Than Fiction, who are going to be starting a tour here, like in the next 2 weeks, going out together.
Do you have go ahead.
A band like another, and then a band like Another Lost Year, who has done many things over the last decade. Billboard charting act, and so we'll be releasing. We're actually re-releasing their last record, which came out on EMP, Alien Architect. We're gonna re-release that record, and put out a couple of EPs that never actually came out as well. But you got a new record from them coming out soon too. So all kinds of different subgenres of rock and roll, and man, lots of cool music. So I guess like maybe like nine bands, maybe.
Okay. Do you ever want to re-release? Let's say a band did a song 3-4 years ago. They weren't a part of Godsize yet because you hadn't started yet, but you really like the song, and you're like, we can produce this a little differently, make it a little more powerful. Do you ever want a band to re-release a song under your record label?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah,
have done it. Am doing it.
Nice.
There's no there. It's like sometimes like or even like if it was like a great tune, like but like it was like like you said, an older record, maybe not as popular, but like it's still like that song is awesome. Like just because like you put it out 5 years ago doesn't mean like that's the only life it has to have. Like that's
right.
You can take the song, it's still a great song, and like there's a whole big world, you know, that hasn't heard that shit. So it's like,
yeah,
you know, you might feel like it's a old tired tune that you've played out for so many years, you know,